Welcome to Parenting Successful Teens, the podcast that cuts through the overwhelm and stress of this phase and offers parents simple, practical, cognitive, science-based strategies for keeping their teens on track. Join Master Coach and real-life mom, Allie Irwin, to talk about real teens, real problems, and the skills it takes to raise successful adults.
When it comes to parenting your teenagers, the idea for this week is that you want to do things because you want to, not because you're expecting a particular outcome. Because no one knows what outcome will actually come. Now, obviously, there's nuance here. For example, I exercise because it ups my odds of a good night's sleep and a healthy heart. Doing things because it ups my odds is logical, right? It's part of what we're teaching our kids is how to think through the logical outcomes of their actions. But at the end of the day, people who exercise, including me, still experience insomnia. And people who never exercise, thank goodness, go through life without heart problems. Exercising in and of itself does not guarantee any particular outcome. Just like anything we do for our kids doesn't guarantee a particular outcome. And so the trick that I want to offer you this week is to really learn to pair activities that you can genuinely find joy in doing with your goals. And there is no place this is more true than the holiday season. And it's not too late to apply it this year to whatever holidays you celebrate, okay? I'm laughing because I feel like as moms now, the holiday season is pretty much year-round. Like we just finished Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then it's Martin Luther King weekend, and then it's President's Day weekend, and Valentine's Day weekend, and spring break, and, it's just kind of always something. So I want to offer you a personal example of why this matters so much. And if you get my newsletter, you've already heard a version of this story. And if you don't get my newsletter, you should definitely start because I'm very often sharing stories there that do not make it into the podcast. So you do not want to miss out on those. You can either shoot me an email to Allie@allieirwin.com and ask me to add you, or there's buttons all over my website. So you can go grab my free no regrets guide. Stop second guessing your decisions. I think that's what it's called on my website. And that also adds you to my email list. Okay, here's the story. So we had our last regular Christmas when my oldest was 14. Take that in for a second. When my oldest was 14, like our last regular Christmas is when my oldest was a freshman in high school. By February that next year, we were in full disgruntled teenager mode. And then what followed was years of everything my parents do is stupid and embarrassing. Or there were some years of kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde where I wasn't sure who I would get Christmas morning. But I couldn't count on my efforts being rewarded with Christmas morning joy. So after that, our relationship healed. But by then, he worked in the beauty industry, which it's just completely nutso from Thanksgiving to Christmas. He had no time off except for the actual Thanksgiving and Christmas day. And he lived 800 miles away. And so there was no travel time. So we couldn't be together. And then he moved to Europe to pursue his dream job, which I was super happy about. But now he was 5,000 miles away with the same hectic holiday schedule. And initially, I spent a whole bunch of time being mad about not getting the Christmases together that I was counting on, that I thought I deserved. I was a good mom, and my Christmases were freaking magical. They were the Cadillac of Christmas experiences, the Lexus of holidays. And I was feeling a lot of resentment in those initial years because it was my belief that I deserved a particular Christmas morning. It was like a belief that I had paid for an experience with my efforts, and my kids would repay me with their appreciation and attendance. But what saved me were two things. One, straight up, is coaching, because coaching helped me see that transactional thinking for what it was and for the major bummer it was for everyone. And to understand that there was another way to think about this relationship other than like, I'll do this and then you'll do that. And two, the other thing that saved me is that I genuinely loved all the stuff that I was doing around the holidays. I loved the years of Christmas cookie making and Christmas pageants and Christmas concerts and movie watching and mountains of Lego sets. And honestly, I would do all of those years again in a heartbeat because I genuinely loved doing all of that stuff. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that even my former people-pleasing self knew to only do the Christmas things that I genuinely enjoyed. Okay, I didn't know that Christmas of 2012 was going to be the last regular one where we were all together and like enjoying our time under the tree. I thought I had years left, but I didn't. And to be honest, you don't know that you do either. As you have kids that are transitioning, they're growing up, they're getting lives of their own, they're getting families of their own, you don't know what's coming. And so the best way to continue to love the holidays is to do what you do for its own enjoyment. The upside of living this way is since 2012, I have created all kinds of new holiday happiness that doesn't center around us all being physically together on the morning of December 25th. For example, in 2019, we threw a huge pre-Thanksgiving celebration in New York City. Just outside of New York City. We rented a house. We flew everyone, including grandparents, in for a week. And 4 months later, so you have to picture this is November of 2019. 4 months later, the entire world shut down, and it would be 2 more years before we saw our oldest again. Okay, we didn't know what was coming. We just did what we wanted to do. And then in retrospect, it ended up being this totally genius move. And what I want to offer you this week is doing what you do is exactly that. It's always a genius move. And it's always available to you. When I say like doing what you want to do is always available to you, doing a version of it, like maybe what you want to do is, rent a super yacht and float in the Mediterranean. That might not be available to you. But the reason that you want to do that is because you want to spend some time together with your family where you don't have, the responsibility of cooking. There is a version of that is available to you on your current budget, with your current work schedule, and with your current family. Okay, drilling down to the essence of what you really want, there's always a way to have that. Okay, and the more that you do that, the more you amp up your mother's intuition. And because resentment really tamps down all that useful information. So that's where you start coming up with ideas, like I said, to throw like this huge family party right before COVID becomes a thing. So don't worry. So I don't want you to worry if you've been doing stuff that you don't want to do in the past. If you have been, you most likely will have some anger or frustration or grief to process. And having a coach will help you make that process so much easier and faster. And I can personally attest to that. whenever I have big stuff to process, I still always hire a coach to help me, even with all the skills and training that I have. Okay, when I was feeling resentment, like in those early years when, we were really fighting, I genuinely couldn't feel where I had any wiggle room to let go of the resentment and anger that I was feeling. I was feeling like I was owed something and then I didn't get it and I was mad about it, and I needed a coach to help me process that. And then once that layer of resentment was gone, then the layer underneath that for me was joy, because I was able to connect to the fact that I was actually happy that I did all those things. And even if you're not happy that you did all those things all those years, underneath that layer, I promise you, is love. And there's compassion for yourself that, of all the work that you put in. And there's the love that you have for your family and your kids. And the reason you did all those things is because you wanted to give them, these special memories. And if that isn't there for you, I still promise underneath that layer is some extra joy and happiness. So, if you need some help figuring out what that would look like, I have 4 open spots starting in mid-January. We'll get to work and we'll figure out what it is you want to be experiencing as a mom and make a specific plan on how to make that happen for you. I have a fantastic structure that I have used with lots of clients just like you that have started from all kinds of various different starting places. But at the end, where I'm able to help them get what they want as a mom. Circumstances do not get to define your level of happiness. That is something that you get to create, and I'd love to help. So just if you'd like to get started, if you want one of those 4 spots to be yours, if you want to learn more about what that would look like, you can send me an email at allie@allieirwin.com and I will send you all the details. Even if you're just a little bit curious, shoot me an email and let's talk about what's possible for you and your family. Okay, I want you to experience the maximum amount of joy and happiness and connection and love and all the good things. Talk to you next week. Hey, if you enjoyed today's show and you want even more support and a shot of fresh inspiration in your email box each week, you have to get on my list. Sign up to receive my free guide on how to stop second-guessing yourself as a mom. There are so many decisions to make as a mom, and this guide will help you to make decisions and just move on. No more waking up 3 a.m. wondering if you made the wrong decision. This guide is so good. Even my non-mom clients are raving about it. So sign up today, and I will see you next week.